Welcome into another edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting, Jim Goodman. We're going to take a look at the weekend graded stakes races, the Saturday stakes races, and we'll start with Churchill Downs, where their 8th race is the Grade 3 Aristides. For sprinters, you've got the horse that you liked last fall for Breeders' Cup Sprint, and he ran big out there in Santa Anita, winning the sprint work all week. First start back in 2015. Can you beat him?
Yeah, it's a good memory you got there. I don't think I'll get 19-1 on him this
No,
time.
I don't think you will. You might get 1-9.
Yeah, 1-9. It got 19 in some combination. I hate to bet a heavy favorite off a layoff, but he just looks so much better than anything else in here. Osvid possibly off at Oaklawn. He got a 105 buyer, so he's probably competitive. Nothing else here jumps out at me. I think Nate's Mineshaft ran big last time out at 7 furlongs and might even help him shortening up to 6 furlongs. Ran behind Private Zone last time, which is no disgrace. But I'd love to see Work All Week win by about 10. I think he's a great horse, and he came out of Phoenix here and went out to Breeders' Cup and just verified his class. So I'm going to pull for Work All Week and probably not bet this race. If you do, I would wheel him on top and exacta, maybe try to catch a long shot. Maybe Good Lord gets an easy lead and holds on for second, but I think Work All Week is probably definitely the class of the race.
Yeah, I could not pick against him either. I mean, he's won off a layoff before, the one time, more than once, but the one most recent one being in the Phoenix that you mentioned at Keeneland last fall. He's training great from all indications, so no really way to knock him. And I'm like you, if anybody upsets him, I think it's the one Osvid. Gugliato, I thought ran an improved race last time. If the price is good there, that could be one to throw underneath Work All Week. So I'll take Work All Week for the win, use him with Osvid, Viva Majorca, and Gugliato. Viva Majorca is a horse that looked like it was going to be more than he's become to this point, but a horse that has shown some potential, might jump up. So I'm like you, try to catch something with a big price underneath Work All Week's probably your best strategy if you want to play the race. Penn National has the Grade 3 Penn Mile for 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. The Aristides, by the way, 3-year-olds and up going 6 furlongs. But the Penn Mile's on the turf at a mile. And I went with a horse that isn't as accomplished as several of the rivals in here, but Granny's Kitten. The Ramsey Maker team picks their spots well. This one showed a real strong race off a layoff and could easily, I think, improve off that. And if so, could run a number that's right in the mix here. It may be a little bit of a price, given that you've got horses that have won stakes races like Woodwind W and Night Prowler. So I would use those two with Granny's Kitten. Force the Pass I would use, and Papa Cool, who's got some class coming in from California. So all of those I would use with keying Granny's Kitten top and bottom at exactas, and Granny's Kitten is going to be my pick to win the Penn Mile. How about you?
Yeah, this is a nice race. They give away $500,000 for this. It's Grade 3. And by the way, it's running the 4th race Saturday night, so they do it a little bit early. Penn National doesn't start until 6 p.m., so this race runs at 7:22, so hopefully you'll not be out of money by then, so you can play this race.
Yeah, and they do an all-stakes pick 4 to start that card that culminates with the Penn Mile. 4
races, and we are actually carrying Penn National. I added it because I didn't have it on the schedule because I had forgotten, to be quite honest, that they ran those early, and they do that to take advantage, of course, of the West Coast people and that are still betting Santa Anita. So it's a great idea, and that they're done with their pick 4 after this race. So this is the key. This is I guess the anchor leg of the pick 4. I went with Woodwind W in here. I liked his race in the J.W. Murphy at Pimlico on Preakness Day, and I actually played against him. I played Force the Pass that day, but I was very impressed with how Woodwind W finished down the middle of the track, and he's 4 for 4. Any horse that's 4 for 4, I don't care where they've been running. It's Gulfstream, Pimlico, Tampa, and now Penn National, I think, and he obviously loves the distance. He won at 7.5 furlongs. I think that he's got a good shot to move up. The second choice I would take is Ocho, simply off back class out of the Derby, out of the Bluegrass Stakes. He ran pretty well at the Bluegrass Stakes, ran 5.5 behind Carpe Diem. Trying the turf for the first time is always a question mark, but sometimes these 3-year-olds transfer their form to the turf and do very well. And the third choice is your horse, Granny's Kitten. So I would key Woodwind W. I like him naming his horse after himself. His name is Woody Weeks. So I guess his real name is Woodwind Weeks. So he named the horse after himself, and I kind of like that. So the 2 over the 1-4 with all.
Let's go to Santa Anita. They have two graded stakes. The first one is the Grade 1 American Oaks for 3-year-old fillies going 1.25 miles on the turf. And Chad Brown has 3 horses that he has sent out for this race. Interesting move. Who did you go for?
Yeah, I didn't go with Chad Brown. I can't believe I didn't go with Chad Brown. I picked him. I did pick him second with Consumer Credit, but I'm going to take Feathered. I really liked the race that she ran in the Edgewood at Churchill. Just got the lead and just kept on going, and I beat a really quality filly that day in Quality Rocks. Spanish Queen, I think, has a real shot. Obviously loves Santa Anita turf, and stretching out to 1.25 miles ought to suit her great. So I think she's going to be the favorite for Richard Baltus. And Consumer Credit's got a lot of back class, but Quality Rocks beat Consumer Credit 2 back in the Florida Oaks. So I think Feathered might have a little bit of edge, and certainly has an edge on if she can clear Mrs. McDougal. I think she could get a fairly easy lead here. Mrs. McDougal comes out of an Aqueduct race, is not nearly as good as that Edgewood Grade 3. So I'm going to take Feathered on top, hoping she goes wire to wire, and Chad Brown will probably beat me run 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to take Spanish Queen, the 2. I don't usually like to go favorites, but I think you'll get still a decent price because of the Pletcher and Brown having horses in here. This trainer's on fire at the meet. Horses had steadily improving figs. The 95 buyer last time in a Grade 2 stakes win. It's the best win in the field. Nobody's won higher than a Grade 3. So I'm going to take Spanish Queen, use her with a couple of the Chad Browns, Consumer Credit and Strict Compliance. Charlotte Ray also. If I go one more, I would use Feathered next. But Spanish Queen is going to be my pick to win the American Oaks. 8th race, the Grade 2 Californian. I had a tough time singling in or focusing in on anybody here. I ended up going to Hard Aces. I didn't like the race last time, but Sadler didn't have a great record shipping out of town, but back on his home track and horse working like he's ready to bounce back. Gets blinkers, and that's a good angle for Sadler. So I'm going to try the 4 as the win pick, Hard Aces, but I would play 4-horse exacta box with using also Moreno the 7, the 8 Catch a Flight, and the 9 Sammy Mandeville. How about you in the Californian?
Yeah, I'm going to take Moreno. I really worry about that 0 for 8 Santa Anita record. He's 0 for 8 with 4 seconds, but Eric Guillot is very outspoken, and he told everybody who would listen that Moreno was going to win the Charlestown Classic last out, and he did. He looked very impressive. I know he was a beneficiary of shared belief, getting injured in that race, but Moreno looked awfully good, and I'm just thinking he's better than he was the last time he ran at Santa Anita. So I'm going to take him on top. Catch a Flight would be my second choice for Gary Stevens and Richard Mandela, and Hard Aces would be my third choice. And I think the price on Hard Aces could be really good off that last disappointment at Oaklawn. If he gets 6 to 1 on Espinoza with Hard Aces and John Sadler, I'd say you ought to take it this field. I think it might be a good bet because all the money is going to Moreno and Catch a Flight. So, but I would take Moreno on top unless the price is just really low.
Last race we want to take a look at is from Woodbine. It's the Grade 3 Kanawha Cup. 4-year-olds and up going on the big turf course there at 7 furlongs. You got Something Extra, who won the stake on the first week of the Keeneland meet. You got some Mark Casse trainees in here. Who did you land on in the Kanawha Cup?
Yeah, I usually pick the Keeneland horses moving to somewhere else, and Gail Cox has got this horse running really well. Came back and after winning the Shakertown, won the Turf Sprint Grade 3 at Churchill. So those were shorter races, though, 5.5 and 5 furlongs, and I'm thinking the 7 furlongs might be although he's won 2 in his career. I think 7 furlongs might be a little bit of a stretch for him. So I went with Escaper. Shipping from Gulfstream up here, has run a lot at Woodbine with 3 wins in 6 seconds in 13 races, and I like the back class. Almost won in the Arctic here in October of 14, and I just Escaper and Something Extra. It's hard for me to separate those two. I went with Escaper just barely. River 7, the 7-horse, has a little bit of intrigue coming out of some really good Woodbine races, including the Woodbine Mile, and finished 4th, only got beat 2 1/4 lengths at a mile. Shortening up to 7 furlongs might help this horse a little bit, and the back class coming from Grade 1s and Grade 2s might be a price here at 4 to 1, but might be able to beat Something Extra, and Escaper, who I think is going to get all the money. So I would say Escaper would be my very, very lukewarm pick, taking him on top of Something Extra and River 7.
I'm going to take a little bit of a swing here with Lockout, the 10. 2 wins at Woodbine, good record at the 7 furlong distance, and one here off a layoff last year. And I think get a little bit of a price in here because I didn't have a real strong opinion on this race, so I didn't want to take a low price. I'm going to use Lockout in exactas with something extra and with Conquest Top Gun. But Lockout's going to be my pick to win this one. Best of luck with your wagers. Next week, of course, is the huge day at Belmont Park, so we'll be taking a look at all the stakes races on Belmont Day, see if we are going to try to pick American Pharoah to become the first Triple Crown winner since 1978. Best of luck this weekend. This is the In the Money Podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.